They finished second by 1 point, and it looked like most of the year they were going to get to be first. The Dallas Stars had 108 points and finished second last year behind the Colorado Avalanche. The betting odds on their points, gentlemen, take a gander. What do you think? Take a guess.
What did they have last year?
They had 108 last year. What do you think it'll be?
I'm going to say 111.5.
Wow. Okay, Jesse.
105.5.
105.5 is the number.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the finals could be on the horizon for this team. They had great success, made it to the Final Four. But is this the year? On paper, the team's already got a really solid forward group, improved by Matt Duchene, who was bought out by the Nashville Predators. What do we think about that ad?
I mean, it's an incredible ad. Like, that's not a bad player.
They've taken advantage of a couple good buyouts, Suter and Duchene.
Yeah, like Suter was making way too much. Some Stars fan would argue he still does. But, he's been there and he's had a few really good games for them. Duchene, I think he is what the Dallas Stars are trying to be. These guys are not the boring metapod
defense
team
first
that they used to be. Yeah, no, they score goals. They skate. Mm-hmm. They set up plays. Duchene's a versatile player. He can play the wing really well. He can play center if you really need him to. What was it? $3 million?
$3 million for a year.
Stupid. Like, such a good fit. Such a good fit. He's going to score 1 million goals and then go out there and sign a deal as the cap goes up. Good for him.
3 years ago, we openly questioned why Dallas paid so much for Joel Pavelski. 3 years later, we have eaten our words.
It's one of my worst takes.
He is 39. He's making more than Duchene. He's making 3.5, but it's a 1-year deal. Is this the year Father Time, because it eventually will happen, is this the year, guys, that Father Time finally catches up with Joel Pavelski?
It might catch up with him in the regular season, and the second the playoffs start, he's going to be incredible again.
Dallas,
he missed time, and it's like he was their best player, missed time, came back, was their best player. It was ridiculous.
Jesse, Dallas is a team you pay particular attention to because of the irrational love you have for the goaltender, who I'm getting to, by the way. Let's not bring him up yet.
Yeah.
But I want to know, you watch a lot of Dallas games. Pavelski is a major guy for them in the last 3 years. Do you think he can continue it?
Oh, yeah, easily. And like the Dallas Stars, they have this reputation of, they're going to play 2-1 hockey, but that's not their reputation anymore. Mm-hmm. Like last year, they turned into a very good offensive team. They're top 10 in all the offensive categories in power play percentage, in goals for, strictly just scoring goals. They're up there. And like Jason Robertson is one of the most underrated superstars in the National Hockey League. Mm-hmm. He's 100+ points on the year, and he's going to do it again. And there's no doubt in my mind that if this team just gets a little bit more scoring combined with their already otherworldly defense, it's top 3 team in National Hockey League.
They probably get a little more scoring from Duchene. Sorry, go ahead, Steve. Do you have something you want to jump in there?
Yes, Joe Pavelski has more playoff goals than Alexander Ovechkin.
Crazy.
Hey, there
he
you
has
go.
73. Ovechkin has 72. And 73, holy shit. 73 has Pavelski 13th all time.
Amazing.
He's 3 goals away from tying Mario Lemieux.
Wow.
And your question was about Joe Pavelski, and he's only one piece of this really good offense. There aren't many holes in the forward group, and you're combining that with an already great defense.
Now,
they're so good.
Jamie Benn had a good year, and getting the most out of him is going to be something that's really important for the Dallas Stars. But somebody he's always linked to, because I think they came in and signed the extensions at the same time. It's Ben Sagan. What does Dallas need from those guys this year? Sagan, who's, he looked good when he was back from injury, but is he going to be close to the same? We don't know. What do you think about those two this year and what they're going to be able to produce?
Well, health is obviously very concerning, but just be creative. Be creative and play fun hockey. We've seen a lot of guys over the past couple of years really have a resurgence in their career because goals have gone up league-wide. Remember how dead in the water Jeff Skinner's contract was?
Oh, look at it. Look at the resurgence.
And now he's the setup man for Tage Thompson, who's one of the best goal scorers in the league, right? Mm-hmm. So the burden is not as heavily on Ben and Sagan as it used to be. If they have a tough season or a tough week or whatever, there's Rope Hintz. There's Jason Robertson.
Pavelski, Duchene,
right?
yeah.
Exactly, right? So just be creative, play good offensive hockey, and don't be an idiot in your own end.
How many points did Tyler Sagan and Jamie Benn combine for last year, guys? What do you think? Just take a guess. I'm not holding you to this.
100.
135.
138.
Oh,
The most interesting thing I think about Tyler Seguin this season is that you get to be a third line player. You get
good matchups.
Their top six is so good that you can run out. It's Mason Marshman, Matt Duchene, and Tyler Seguin on your third line.
he's like known as a party guy. Like he's got an underrated like drive for success.
Yeah. No,
people would be surprised by how hard he trains.
he's going to be playing a lot better matchups this season against other teams' third and fourth lines, and I think there's a real opportunity for that third line if it turns out to be Marchment, Duchene, and Seguin to do some damage.
Now, one guy that stands out to me, and I wanted to get your take on it, guys, because again, playoff performer, but he played 6 regular season games last year, is Thomas Harley. He was really, really good on defense, strong playoff. Listen, this is a team that's gone from big and slow to big still, but fast and puck moving. He kind of fits that bill really well. What do you expect from a guy like Thomas Harley, who admittedly has really only had a strong playoff, and we never know what that looks like in the regular season?
Yeah, like it's no disrespect to him, but I always take that with a grain of salt. As we go through the 82 game season, which by the way is 82 games. That's so many games.
A lot of games. Has anybody considered how many games that is?
I mean, I wish someone would mention it. I don't think it's I'm not leaning on him to get like 50 points there on the back end.
But like that's a dude who can hang. This is people forget that this is a first round pick.
Yeah.
From 2019, 18th overall. Like this is a guy who has demonstrated that he can hang in the NHL in playoff games, and that's so important that they know they have this now. And if he's playing with Yanni Hakanpää, who's a top 5 hockey name in the league, I think that'll be a fun duo. And it only gets better when you go and you're like, hey, that could be our third pair. And we have 2 other pairs better above them.
Yeah.
Like, they're so deep.
It's cool, right?
Unfun to play against Yanni Hakanpää.
Rupe Hintz signed the extension of all extensions, 8 years, $67.6 million last November, 75 points last year. I know we mentioned him earlier, but I want to get to Jason Robertson just after him. What does he bring to this team? Like, again, we got to talk about the offense with the Stars.
Oh, forget about what Rupe Hintz brings to the Dallas Stars. Think about what Rupe Hintz can bring to you and your fantasy team, because people forget he exists.
Yep.
I know.
They really do.
Weird. Why?
I don't know. He's one of the most underrated players in the entire league, the most under-talked about. I called him French. Remember that?
Yeah.
I said it was from France. Finland. Starts with an F. That was really the only thing I got. Like, there's really, yeah, for sure.
If you load up on Dallas Stars for your fantasy team, you're going to have a good year.
I am telling you, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Mason Marchment, guy that, and again, as a former Leaf, we got to mention him. Mason Marchment, valuable player on this team.
Yeah, he had a tough season. Obviously, he signs that big deal in Dallas. Tragedy strikes last summer at the draft. I really don't think people appreciate how much that can impact someone, right? Like this isn't 4 to 6 weeks with grieving. Mm-hmm. It's a tough process, and the good thing for him is I think he's surrounded by an incredible group in Dallas, and a really deep group. So the burden isn't on him to produce too much. He knows there's an issue. Like he's been pretty public about it, or he knows last season wasn't up to the standard that's expected of him. But there's enough depth in the Stars lineup that he can kind of work his way up slowly.
2 names to watch out for in case some of those vets go down with injuries or need rest is Logan Stankoven and Maverick Bourque. The thing about Dallas that's so frustrating is they're really good, and they've got some good prospects too. And lastly,
one of the most underrated rookies last year, Wyatt Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Wyatt Johnson's going to center that second line, I think.
And hey, by the way, Jake Ottinger too.
Yeah.
Are there TVs in Dallas, or like I just feel like of all the East Coast bias and all that stuff with Toronto, like Dallas might be the most disrespected team in the league.
Probably. Mm-hmm. Probably.
Seriously.
There were a couple OT bounces away from beating Vegas.
It's true.
I think they lost 2 OT games in that series, 7 games.
It's true.
Like
they were the only team that looked like a team against Vegas.
Yeah.
Like really.
Yeah.
Everybody else got steamrolled.
Are we worried about Ottinger? at all?
No, they played him too much last season. Like, I think that was his first time ever playing that many games in a regular season, and I think truly it caught up with him in the playoffs. It looked like a goaltender who was a little tired, and I think they need to just play Scott Wedgwood a little bit more, and you can't rely on Ottinger going 62 games. Because his who he was in the playoffs isn't who he was in the regular season. I don't think that playoff form Ottinger was the true thing, and I think 62 games is a little much. Like, I don't think that's how it works in the National Hockey League anymore, unless you're building him up to that level, and now he's just running 60 games every year. But I don't know. I think they overplayed him last year.
The Stars are good enough, and Wedgwood's good enough that you can play him a little bit more than that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, guys, predictions. Where do they finish in the division? I have a feeling I know.
I think Dallas is going to be the star of the Central Division, you see, because it's their name. It's their name. They're first.
Jesse.
Steve, if you drank a whole bunch of water and coffee and tea, what do you need to do?
Go number one.
Yeah! Worked this time. All right.
All right, I have Dallas number one.
All right. I painfully have them at second. I don't know. Maybe I made a huge mistake there, but
maybe you made a number two.
Yeah, could have.